Let's face it, guys, Mauricio Pochettino's Chelsea are a massive laughingstock. And in today's video, with them having an FA Cup replay coming up and down in 11th, the bottom half of the league, I'm going to go into why I think Tottenham's favourite of modern times ex-boss and now Chelsea manager Mauricio Pochettino is struggling so hard at that club, who over the past 20 years, previously, before Todd Boehly and Clear Lake Capital bought them out, was so unbelievably successful, and yet now they languish with everybody just laughing at them. It's really been an unbelievable fall from grace from Chelsea over the last couple of years. So why is that? Well, let's face it. Let's start from the most recent. They've lost their last two games, shipping 4 goals in each game. They lost 4-1 against Liverpool and 4-2 at home to Wolves. As I said, they're in 11th place, bottom half of the table. They came 12th last season. This season, they've won 9, drawn 4, and lost 10. The fans are in revolt. Let me give you an example of that. The face of Chelsea YouTube, Rory Jennings. And if you're a Chelsea fan and you've stumbled across this video and you don't subscribe to Rory Jennings, make sure you do. He has amazing takes and is incredibly passionate about his club and all things football. So make sure you give him a subscribe. But Rory's last 4 videos have had the following titles. Chelsea need Jose Mourinho. That's the most recent video. Now, for me, wow. We had Jose Mourinho at Spurs. Obviously, I'm a Spurs fan. We had him. He is a busted flush. He is a dinosaur. And for Chelsea fans to think that Jose Mourinho could be the answer just shows how in revolt they are, how devastated they are at the moment with what's going on at Stamford Bridge. Jose Mourinho just got sacked from Roma. He got sacked from Spurs. He is so old when it comes to management. He has no idea how to manage current players. And if you look at Chelsea and what they've got in their squad now, at the $1.2 billion that they've spent on young, talented, raw players, can you imagine Jose Mourinho talking to them in a changing room, doing his shtick, his kind of mostly 90% stick and then with a little dose of carrot? It just doesn't work anymore. So that's intriguing to me that some Chelsea fans seem to think Jose is the answer. In terms of some of Rory's other video titles, this is just in the last week. Sack Pochettino tonight. I hate Mauricio Pochettino is another one. And Chelsea are finished. This is Rory. He loves his club more than anything else. And he's just done with it. Now, what I would say about Rory is, having watched a lot of his videos, he is one of the kind of what I'd call the OG Chelsea fans. Not a Chelsea fan who's only a Chelsea fan since the Abramovich takeover. He was there back in the old days of Stamford Bridge when they had Ford Sierras by the pitch. When the shed end was a proper, full of hooligans, nasties. And Rory knew what it was like when Vinnie Jones was playing for Chelsea and the like. So it's not that he's just, angry because it's going wrong now. He's angry because it compares to him to some of the bad old days. And what I'd say as well is that he never wanted Mauricio Pochettino as manager of Chelsea. He just thought the Tottenham link was too difficult to stomach. And a lot of kind of veteran Chelsea fans feel the same way. And look, I can see it. Look, as a Spurs fan, we've had both Jose and Conte, ex-successful Chelsea managers, as our boss. And when they came to us, I admit it, when they first came to us, I thought this is what we needed, win now managers, but it didn't work. And let's imagine it the other way. If we were, as a Spurs fan, if an unsuccessful Chelsea boss came to us, actually it did happen, didn't it? Andre Villas-Boas. We've had 3 ex-Chelsea bosses, and Villas-Boas didn't do anything at Chelsea, and then he didn't really do anything at Spurs either, and we hounded him out. So I can see where Rory's coming from. Now, one thing I would say about Chelsea, they are, of course, in the Carabao Cup final, and they will play Liverpool in that final in March. However, I just get the sense it's not enough for the Chelsea fan base. Even if they were to lift that trophy, and let's face it, they won't. It wouldn't be enough, I don't think, for Chelsea fans to be happy with Mauricio Pochettino and what is going on at the club. I'll get into kind of more the ownership side further down the line, but in terms of what's happening with the team and the management, Mauricio Pochettino is starting to shift the blame. And now that is something, as Spurs fans, we completely remember. When things started going awry in the last year of his tenureship at Tottenham Hotspur, if you take away the Champions League run, Maurizio stopped taking responsibility himself and started pushing it elsewhere. He started talking about the huge rebuild that needed to happen. When we got to the Champions League final, he said maybe he should resign because it couldn't get any better than that. And these are things that drip through into the changing room, and they're not appreciated by players. This is what Mauricio Pochettino has had to say this week. Last season, I wasn't here. It's 15 or 16 players that are different from last season. How can you compare? At the moment, we need to put it all in context. We need to put it all together. To build a team, it's not a magic touch. Now, I see what he's trying to say. Yes, Chelsea have invested $1.2 billion on an entire squad of new players. As he says, 15 or 16 new players since he came in. However, that's not all of them. There is also experienced talent there. Thiago Silva, Raheem Sterling, Ben Chilwell, Reece James. Now, yes, they've had injuries, but who hasn't? Newcastle United, Manchester United, and Tottenham Hotspur have had some of the worst injuries in recent years, and we've all had to deal with it. And Tottenham, frankly, are dealing with it best. When, let's face it, a lot of Chelsea fans, and other fans, but Chelsea fans, said that when Harry Kane left, and when Postecoglou came in, Spurs would be languishing. They might even be down in the relegation places. And we're in 5th. Chelsea are in 11th. So, Pochettino not doing a brilliant job at the moment. And what is another telltale sign of when things are not going well at a club? That is when the anonymous sources start leaking out of the dressing room to journos. The Athletic have done an amazing piece on Chelsea this week, and that is where they have said that some anonymous sources from within the dressing room have come out and said the following. Some sources close to the dressing room, speaking anonymously to the Athletic to protect relationships, have suggested coaching on tactical elements is limited and players are essentially playing off the cuff. This is something that we've seen more and more in the last few years at football clubs. We've seen it at Spurs when it started going awry for Conte, Nuno Espirito Santo, and Jose Mourinho. The leaks from the changing room getting to the journalists started to happen. At Spurs, it was more often than not, the training is too hard, or the training is not hard enough. So expect in the next few weeks or months, if it doesn't improve at Chelsea, those leaks will start to happen more and more often. They'll start complaining about the training. Mauricio Pochettino and his backroom staff, well known for very hard physical training, and you can guarantee that the Chelsea players will start to whinge about it. And they will say that some of the injuries are as a result of that. It's exactly what happens, and this is another reason why Chelsea are not doing well. Another source, let's get on to the ownership factor. Clear Lake Capital. Todd Bowley, the face of Clear Lake Capital, came in to take over from Roman Abramovich, or actually from the government, because the government put all the money that Roman Abramovich basically cheated with Chelsea into a separate pot that now no one can get access to because Abramovich is refusing to kind of give it to the Ukrainian side of the Russia-Ukraine war. That's another story in itself. But Todd Bowley came in with Clear Lake Capital, decided to make it a football manager project. He said, I'm not going to do what we did before and just buy win-now players. We're going to invest in youth. And it is not working. And again, in this Athletic article, more than one source has said that no longer are Todd Bowley and his co-owner, Bedad Agbali, getting on. They're no longer on good terms. What a surprise. No doubt a culture of blame within that boardroom. Now, this week, Thiago Silva's wife has come out and tweeted about the club. This is another thing that you see when the rats are deserting a sinking ship. The players' partners start to tweet. The players' families start to post on Instagram. Bella Silva wrote a tweet this week that said, it's time to change. If you wait any longer, it will be too late, with 2 blue hearts on it. What is she saying? What is she suggesting? Pochettino has since come out and said that he's had a chat with Thiago Silva about it and it's all okay. But what is she saying? Is she talking about the management or is she talking about the ownership? What do you think? If you're a Chelsea fan, what do you think Bella Silva is actually saying? How do you feel about it? And then another clear sign. And do you know what? This is not unexpected to me. I said it. When Bowley came in, when Clear Lake came in and they started signing players to 8-year contracts, huge transfer fees and long contracts to try and push down the profit and sustainability rules down the road, the financial fair play, to try and find a loophole into it. I said at the time, the biggest issue will actually be if there are players there who don't succeed. For instance, if Mudryk doesn't succeed and suddenly he's on an 8 or 9 year deal, 8.5 year deal on 150 grand a week, Chelsea will never be able to get the money for him, because when you buy a player off another club, you are paying up their contract. So they're going to be stuck with these players. And lo and behold, this week, within this Athletic article, this is what it says. There is a view within Chelsea that the current first team group is high on entitlement and low on hunger in some quarters. Some of the new arrivals have privately expressed regret at the long-term contracts they have signed and do not see the grand project that was sold to them in the first place. Again, for the third time in this video, they've spent $1.27 billion on a group of young, raw, potential players. Now, what is the reality of young wonder kids and potential players? It's not like Football Manager, where if you play them enough, they all come through. They will not all come through. And especially when they're thrown together in one group with hardly any leadership and then some injuries of some of the more experienced players and a manager who is a favourite at one of your biggest rivals. It is a recipe for disaster. And that is why Chelsea, under Pochettino, are currently a massive laughingstock. And frankly, as a Spurs fan, I am here for it. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. As ever, please do support the channel. You can become a member or a Patreon member. It's only £1 a month and you'll get your regular content every single day. Look in the description box as to how to do that. Please do press subscribe, give this a like, and go over to the podcast platforms, be that Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and press subscribe or follow there as well. Thank you once again for your support. Thanks for watching.